Okay, so agenda. Who's got some demo?
Me?
Me. Zoltán?
Nice little demo, yeah.
Nice little demo, okay. Zoltán. Someone else? Sipke, it's been a long time without any demo.
Yeah, but I'll make up for it.
What?
Eventually. I'll make up for it eventually.
At some point.
You know, in the far future.
Yes, your sound is not really good. What else? So status, then websites, triage. No soccer game today. What else do I have here? Not so much. Website design. We'll see with Chris if there are any news or if I missed something on the forums. I didn't check the forums. Okay. Anything that anyone wants to add to the agenda? No? Okay. Zoltán, how long is your demo?
Well, about 5 minutes.
Well, last time too. Okay, so let's do the status first. And I will share my screen. Let's invite the designer at the meeting, Chris. And they show up. They'll show up whatever they did. So sharing screen. Desktop. Benedek, you wink. It's okay? No. Good. So status. Again, I did do much last week. 2 reasons. It was Thanksgiving, so for the US-based workers, there was actually no work because Thursday and Friday were holidays. But I worked on some stuff. So activate tenants in parallel, this is done, this was showed. Yeah, so there was an issue with this thing that I explained to you last week about, so what I did is that I changed the way the tenants are activated to make them in parallel, so it was working great. The only issue was what I explained last week, which was that the shell descriptor cache file, the cache.dat file, which is at the root of the Orchard installation, the update folder, could have a concurrency issue. So this is not a fix, this is temporary fix. Could have some concurrency issue, and also the mappings file could have concurrency issues. There are 2 concurrency issues here. First concurrency issue is when you have multiple tenants. If multiple tenants are started at the same time, they will try to access the same cache.dat file. Okay, because the cache.dat file is unique per Orchard installation. So it could provide some issues if you try to start multiple tenants at the same time, which I changed. Second issue is when you have a shared file system across different Orchard instances. For instance, when you run on Azure websites. And here, not only the cache.dat file can be an issue, but also every mappings.bin file, which is per tenant. So how did I fix it? First, I tried to fix the concurrency issue, but it was not possible. Too complex, because fixing the concurrency on the cached files, because the cache.dat file and the mappings.bin files are some cache just to optimize the performance. And having a lock on those files will mean prevent any benefit from using the files. So the files were useless. So fixing the concurrency issue at the file system level is useless, because the drawback of using of fixing the concurrency would prevent the benefits. So what I did actually is that I added some flags in the configuration file, the host components.config.configuration file. This file is already has a lot of flags to disable, for instance, file system watchers or dynamic compilations and so on. And now there are two more flags. One to disable the session configuration cache, which is a mappings.bin file. So if you say disable true, it will prevent this file from being written and read. And also another flag for the shell descriptor cache, which is a cache.dat file, the same thing. So by default, the flags, the disabled flags are false, which means it's the standard behavior. If you're on one instance and you have one tenant, it's using the cache to speed up the startup of the tenant. But whenever you have if you have multi-tenant, you should disable the cache.dat file here. And well, if you're on one instance, it's okay. You can have multiple tenants because there is a lock. But if you're on Azure websites and you have multiple instances, then you should disable those. Okay. Any question? I hold. Okay. So two new flags now, and they are integrated into the code like this. Yeah, I had to fix some things, but that was not such complicated. But I've seen some people having issues with that. I have a customer who has, I think, 3 instances of Azure websites, and they were, or at least two, and they saw issues with the mappings.bin file. And I personally found some issues with cache.dat file, so now it should be fixed. I also fixed the unit test on 1.x because some stuff were broken. And I also changed the routing to support the names too. Because with the changes I had done a few weeks ago, the named routes were no more supported, so now it's handled too, with no performance impact. Very small detail. I see that Sipke pushed some fixes also for JSON serialization and in the workflow.
Yeah, the issue is that if you set a strongly typed object to the workflow state, that would fail with the cannot implicitly convert type blah 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 to the JToken object. So what you need to do instead is serialize that to JSON and store it as such.
Okay.
And Piotr confirms that it's a good fix.
To object of T. Okay. I was just worried about the deserialization, but it's okay. It's just a from object, so it will find out the type by itself, and you just use a type on the to object here, which is okay. Any other question here? What do I miss? Okay. Any question on the changes for last week? So very small week, short week. There should be more stuff for next week. I'm also working on helping some important customers with their website. No questions? So, Zoltán, Dimo?
Yep, let's do it. And I will try to share my screen, and it's loading. Okay, so not Q&A. What the go away. Okay, I mistakenly also did something with some Q&A, but you should be able to see my screen slowly. Okay, so I did a small improvement to the setup screen. I came up with the idea a few weeks ago regarding having an upload field on the setup screen where you could upload an arbitrary recipe to be executed when the setup runs. And I have done this. Can you see my screen now, Benedek?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
We can in
Okay.
Yeah, just now. It's okay.
It's okay now. Okay, so there's not much to see. So this is just an ordinary setup screen, and I added this section here. So basically here you can select a recipe file, for instance this test recipe here, and if you select a recipe it will be executed instead of the recipe selected here. If you still want to use one of the built-in recipes, you can clear this file uploads box with this clear button, and then this will be executed, but otherwise just browse for a file and finish setup. So not much to see here. Much of the work happens in the background. So I've modified the setup service because it was expecting a recipe name. Now it accepts a recipe object. So so the recipe can come from an arbitrary source. In this case, either from a built-in recipe, from the disk, or from an uploaded file. So that's it. This comes from the test recipe.
I like the functionality, but I don't like the UI so much. But I'm sure that can be improved.
Yeah,
I'm not good with UIs.
I think we should not have it on the setup page because it's adding some complexity for very few users. So it's adding the complexity to everyone, but very few users will use it. It's really a developer scenario where you want to push recipe files. How many developers use recipe files today to set up their instances? I would not say everyone, and it's really developers. So maybe in a separate page like setup/advanced, where you have a custom setup page with more options if you need more options. But on the default one, I don't really see. I see the advantage, but.
And also, it's true. I use recipes as well, custom recipes. But it would be for me. It would be frustrating to have to select the same recipe file over and over again when I initialize my instance. So I always put it just in the setup module. For me personally, it would not be useful in that sense.
Yeah, so this mitigates two issues. One is that you have to modify the setup module in case you want to add a new recipe to the setup.
Mm-hmm.
But admittedly, this would be inconvenient if you want to use really the same recipe all the time.
Yeah, and there is a workaround, which is just select the core recipe and go into the admin and execute your recipe using the import.
Yeah, you can do that. This is slightly different, but
I agree of the benefit. I agree with the benefit, but the issue is
I like Piotr's suggestion.
The complexity.
Add just a final option in the drop-down, and if you click that, then the uploader will appear.
Well, I could do that. Yeah, I wouldn't have an advanced setup separately.
Isn't it also So actually, you can do that. We will never do that. It's a security issue, I think, here. Because if you can select the recipe, you can do whatever you want on the website, even if you don't own the website. And this way, with a recipe, you can download modules on the gallery or anywhere on the internet and execute the code you want on the install. So if it's part of Orchard, let's say we host a solution where you can create a new website, someone could...
oh, that's right.
But you can only do that in the main tenant, on the main tenant. So you can't install new modules on a tenant.
I don't think you're right.
I tried it and you can't. So the gallery actually you can switch it
still
on.
Even if the module is there, you can access it and run some commands and everything.
Yeah, but those commands are also constrained to the tenant. So basically you can do anything that you can normally do with a tenant, but you can't do anything else with the instance.
We'll have to check again. I would agree like this, but I've played with tenants recently a lot, and I was able to install modules. Maybe that's a regression. I have to check that.
Really, I got an access denied as the site owner.
I have to check.
Yeah, only the default tenant should in principle be able to install.
This was the print, yeah, but yeah, or maybe I just.
But there are, I mean, commands are available.
Yeah, but as I mentioned, you can't run commands for a different tenant. So you can run commands for that tenant.
Yeah, there are commands as part of the default recipes, so I don't see how that would be true.
Sorry?
Yeah. There is a command, for example, that creates the default page.
Yeah, so you can run commands, but you can only run commands for that tenant. You can't use the tenant switch from a recipe.
Sure, but that's a security issue. But you can run arbitrary commands by just uploading a file. Don't forget that the setup experience is not even protected by login password. Currently, the worst you can do is create the site. I think you could do a lot worse with arbitrary commands and arbitrary recipes.
Yeah, but I don't think you can do more with commands than you can do with enabled modules. So if there is some functionality in a module that can access, for example, other tenants' data, and there's a command for that, then sure you can do something nasty.
If you could execute commands using recipes in the admin, you are authenticated. Here, you access the setup, and anyone can access the setup.
Yeah, well, once you've accessed the setup, Sebastian, you're in, because you just have to go through setup and you're the site owner. So that's not a good argument. But what you said about tenants actually doesn't really work either, Zoltán, because setup exists for the default tenant as well. So you can run commands that are going to affect everyone by installing modules and so on.
Yeah, but only on the default tenant.
Yeah, but that's enough.
But I don't see the issue here. If you are allowed, if you can access the setup screen of a default tenant because you are running the setup for something, then I don't know why it is an issue. If
you can already go to the gallery and install stuff.
Yeah, so basically then you can do anything later from a later screen or by running recipes from the admin side too.
No, if you are a hoster and you want to grant access to some people with custom recipes, you don't want them to add their own. I don't know. Yes, you could then, because when you're in the admin, you could still do that. Not really, because your custom recipe might be just to.
Yeah. Yes. If you are managing a system where people can actually create their own tenants, you don't want them to be able to enable and disable module. And you would be opening the door for that.
Yeah, but that wouldn't happen on the setup.
What?
But that wouldn't happen on the setup. Well, when the setup runs, you can enable or disable modules, but if you want a module to be enabled for tenants, then you should enable that after a setup. And when we are after a setup, you can only enable or disable modules from recipes if you are also able to run recipes from the admin side. But we are just speaking
which
from
is
the...
not necessarily the case. You might not be able to do that. Even if you're the site owner or the tenant, the system may be locked down so that you cannot do those things.
yeah, but
leaving them on the setup screen would relax that, which is bad.
Yeah, but what I say that when you the setup recipe execution is before you can enable a custom module that should be enabled for tenants.
How is that good?
Sorry?
Your sound, Bertrand, is really bad.
Sorry.
Okay, so probably we should discuss that sometime else because it's already lengthy. Elon is saying. So probably I will open a discussion about that.
Yeah, to answer Nick, there are some scenarios, but there is a workaround.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. Okay.
What discussion did I miss? Okay. If there are no other demos, I will show the websites. Taking some notes. Websites. I have lots of websites, but I just picked the one in this list.
Another car website.
This is, yes, the car website of the week. We have one. Oh, we have two this week. So this one is in a language I don't understand. Sipke might understand. Missing from that.
Oh, this. Oh, yeah, I know this website.
Yeah. This one is internet marketing. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's really not in my list. Okay, well, I'll talk about it. This one is cars seller website. There's another one here. You see the similarities. More than medication. Lots of content. Nice website, actually. They look really professional compared to the Orchard website itself. One and this one. And yes, so Bertrand was talking about this one. Discover SharePoint.com.
Is that actually a Microsoft site?
Yes, by the Office team. You can see it here. Where is that?
Did you know about
You see
them?
Microsoft. I discovered it I discovered it and I tweeted about it. That's how you knew about it. But what more than medication is a web form site? Maybe they are they are using different technologies. Let me check.
So
Or maybe I messed up.
They never.
Yeah,
approached-
this is not Orchard. This is not Orchard. I have to remove it. Sorry, mistake. Oh. This is just, I think, because it's in Australia. It's made by the company named Orchard, which has a CMS and also sometimes uses Orchard, our CMS. So that's. So this website, yes, is from Microsoft. I know it's managed by Microsoft, but usually it's made by contractors. And I know the company which made that because they did some other websites for the Office team. But this one is for SharePoint, so this is interesting. And it makes sense because SharePoint can do that, but you might not want to use SharePoint to do this kind of website. Maybe too complex and too expensive to host for this kind of website. So.
Did they approach you at any time to say that they were doing that?
Sorry? What do you say?
Did they approach you at any point in the...
Well, the company itself, the vendors, yes, they approached me in May, but not for this website, for previous websites like this one, fasttrack.office.com, and one or two other ones. So this is really also marketing websites for Office. There's another one. What was it? I think it starts with a D or something. Yeah, I don't remember. So they have a bunch of websites like this, and this one I didn't know about. So I pinged the guy, and he said, "Yes, we released it recently." Discover, yeah. And I think they have other ones. If you want some help doing Orchard websites, I can give you the contacts, and not sure you want, but they can do custom Orchard websites. They're good, you see. Up. Every time it's a Australian website, it's not the good one. Okay, so this is a good site. It's not lots of graphic, but it's interesting in terms of marketing. That site on SharePoint used Orchard to do that. Yeah, so our next goals are to have Umbraco, .NET Nuke, and Sitecore using Orchard. Okay, that's the goals. Command questions about this? WordPress, yeah. Mais they are a blog. WordPress is a blog. So if no one has any question, I go to Triage. So this is ordered by votes. And I want proposed release. What did we say about this? We said something, didn't we? No, we said first ensure validation. We'll talk about the other later. Submit and active. So dash in field technical name. That. Indexing clogging site with 15 indices. Ooh, we have a site with 15 indices. Okay. Why do you have that? Why do you need 15 for one site? Did you fix that already?
Well, this was a long time ago. So 1.7.1 at highest.
That is weird that it's running all the website at the same time.
Are we going in creation order with the issues now?
Didn't you parallel background tasks or do something like that recently, Sebastian?
No, there should be only one background task actually, and I'm not sure that. Oh, okay. Maybe the issue. Okay, maybe the issue is not about background tasks here. I'll try that. I'll try to look at the code. There must be a simple solution. There is some no reentrance code so that the indexing on one index can't be done simultaneously by two threads. But here it's a different issue. It's multiple indices. So a bad assembly version. I'm not sure. Yes, what I said is it's not because they say it's version 3.3.4 that the assembly version is actually 3.3.4. So maybe sometimes just a file version and not the assembly version. Just to prevent issues with this kind of version number evolution.
I think it is 3.3.1.4. I remember looking at this last time I did the upgrade, and I upped it, and the minute I did it, I think it was wrong.
Yeah, and it does. Yeah, and let me check. Web config and Hibernate. It's migrating to 3.3.1.4, and if I go to the references here and I go to an Hibernate, there's no in Hibernate here. Why don't we? Oh, it's in the web here. The web doesn't know about an Hibernate, but this one knows. Version 3.3.1.4. So this is correct. So an Hibernate version is 3.3.4, but the assembly version is 3.3.1.4. So I think this is not an issue.
Oh, didn't I? Oh, I already commented.
Okay, let's close it. Closed. It's not an issue. That's nice. Yeah, losing part definitions. Propose a patch. Quick question. Blah. Let's go to the end to see if someone says no more issue. Oof. Too many comments. So what's the issue?
Let me have a look at that one quickly. Can you read out the what number is it? 199.
So I'll let you repro, Nick, and you'll tell me if it's a bug.
Okay.
Module dependencies hidden from site in admin. Dependency hidden from site in admin. I think it has been fixed. Okay.
Okay, so this conversation went from talking about the bug to talking about orchard.api.
Mm-hmm. But can you check the
Yeah, I'm going to have a look at I'll have a look at the patch, yeah.
Not the patch, just to see if the bug is still there.
Yeah, totally.
CSS styles in Media Picker. No, there any. So in the preview in 1.6 and before, we had dialog to insert the media, and we were able to define CSS and styling and width and height injected into the HTML. It's no more there in the media, the new media picker, but yeah, because I think it's an orthogonal feature, it should not be in the media picker because it depends on which media you have and it depends on each context. And you can still do that by adding these properties to the media type that you want. For instance, if you want to add it to the image, do it. You can add your custom properties to it and reuse it when you render the media item. And this way, it's also customizable. So if you don't need it, you don't have it. It doesn't pollute your UI, and you can have your custom properties for each of the media types and your custom rendering with those properties for each of the media types when you inject them into your HTML. So I want to close it saying it's not an issue. What do you think? Sipke, what do you think? I know you work a lot with media.
Yeah.
You didn't listen to me.
I did with one ear. Yeah, I think it's common in HTML editors to have a drop-down list where you can select classes that you defined in your CSS style.
I think this is not the question.
Wow.
This is not the question.
Why?
But your point also goes into my direction. So this is that you might even want some custom CSS for your images. So I will close it.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
By saying not won't implement, and I will explain why. I won't say we because it's. There is a parallel discussion on the chat. Invalid message and publishing. Open an edit page for unpublished content item. Okay, why not? So it's just about changing the text to your page has been published and not just saved. Menu item is missing a help text before the summary and what is doing each menu item. So it will be helpful for users to have a menu tip displaying a summary on what is doing each menu item. Usage. Don't we have that already? Usage in tooltips or help text when using the menu in a page layout. And a flag to avoid rebuilds in same request or same session can cache. Yeah, caching is another question. That's a more broader question. So here, dashboard, navigation, on what is doing each menu item. We have that, I assume. It's explaining it. So I don't think it's an issue. You need to be more specific because here I don't understand. Tooltips, and maybe it's just more than here. Of no importance. Okay. Move target script from taxonomies to jQuery.
Yeah, we had a discussion about moving
Some stuff.
reusable scripts to a common library.
Yeah, we said yes for this and other libraries. The question is what? So
the jQuery module.
sorry?
I would prefer if we had a different scripts module rather than it being called jQuery.
Yeah, which will have a dependency on jQuery maybe.
Yeah.
So the issue I see. No, I'm not talking about Tagit. In general. Some of the modules might use. So let's just talk about the core modules. Some of the core modules might use a library at some point in time, but change their mind and say, "Oh, let's not more use Knockout and let's use Angular." That means that we will still have to have Knockout updated as part of this module because we used it once, and then it will be a breaking change not to provide Knockout anymore. And we also have to include Angular too, or should it be the
policy that if we at some point don't want to use Knockout, for example, anymore, we would just obsolete it, and then the policy states that after, I don't know, a certain time frame, we will remove it, but like after 12 months or so. Same goes for other methods and classes that we have been deprecating. At some point, we want to clean up the code, but give developers and users of that code enough time to update after a reasonable amount of time, of course.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. There's no reason why we can't start obsoleting things if necessary.
Okay.
Are we having a Orchard 173?
I am not sure.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure because there's not so much to do for 1.8 unless we have a big bug that needs to be shipped soon. but I don't think we'll have a 173. I might want to target 1.8 directly. We still work on 1.7x because it's convenience, but
Sure.
yeah, 1.78 might be. Well, sorry, 1.8 might be
more appropriate.
Yeah, and very shortly released. MVC5 works fine. We have who on the list is using 1.x already? Bertrand is using it.
I am, but I'm still developing the application. It's not live.
So there is not much big bug in the 1.x. It's pretty stable actually. There is some work to do for the new modules we said we would release and the migration path to optimize it also, but it's for new, so it's pretty stable. It's not in a broken state, and it's fast.
Yes, it's really fast.
Well, if you do shit, it's still slow, but if you do nothing, it's really fast now. How do you mark a JavaScript library as deprecated? So each JavaScript library will need its own feature?
Yeah, maybe because you have the resource manifest that could be deprecated. We could, but personally, I think it's nice if we have a single module exposing all of the scripts that we need. Of course, we can't rename jQuery right now, but at some point we might deprecate that one in favor of a newer module which exposes not just jQuery but all the other libraries that we.
Well, we do that in our chart to 0 when we break things. We don't want to rename jQuery right now, even in 1.9 or 1.34 or whatever.
Right.
Each JavaScript has its own feature. And then jQuery, all the things. Active task, save. Future work. Prepared call before real preparation. No, prepared means it's been prepared, so it should not be called before. It should be, so then it will be preparing. So prepared is actually after. I think this is part of Piotr changes, I assume, because I don't recall this code. Invoke created, prepared. And so you have one event before this thing and one event after this thing. So created is the lifetime. So I don't think there is an issue here. Created and prepared. Configurers, invoke. No, that's okay. CSS for module admin is no okay when searching something. So when you select some text in the search box. Oh, I lost. So when you select some text in the search box, CSS for module admin is get hidden and the CSS is broken because the end item is no more the first on the left.
Oh.
Sipke, are you talking?
Yeah, I think I've seen that.
Can you explain?
Yeah, I think what Christian says here is that if you start typing in the modules in the feature where you see all the features and you start typing, then the list gets filtered. But because there's an alternating color per record, it doesn't reapply. So every even and uneven, at some point an even and another even record would be rendered. So both would use the highlighted color.
One sec, some li get hidden, the CSS is broken because... Okay, so it's just an alternate color issue. Okay.
Yeah, looks like it.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but I think I fixed that one because I used that script to filter the content types list and content parts. I think I fixed that.
Yeah, the CSS should be when it's visible. So yeah.
Yeah.
On the yeah. So it's doable. Roughly. Yeah. Okay. Release. Admin is logged out after 15 minutes despite remember me box being checked. So I assume here that the expectation is that even if you're logged out, the next query, the next happening query will re-authenticate you and it should work. Okay, I will check that. You can't post something though because the token, the anti-forgery token is no more valid. Yeah, I think the real solution here is to have a ping task on the client which just keeps the session alive while the window is open. And I like when you're and explicitly tell people that they have been unlogged and unlock them if they want. Maybe as an option like you have on the banking websites where you're not active for like 10 minutes, they tell you, oh, you will be unlogged, signed out, and redirect you to the home page. Some behavior like that. Not sure we can do much more than for this feature. Features do not enable required dependencies on shell launch. Maybe, why not? Okay, this is
it's the same one.
Exact. So this is a duplicate.
I actually ran into this yesterday.
Yeah, but there is a nice workaround for that. I'll write about it. Maybe tomorrow. Yeah, you can enable features from from migration.
Is this not the same thing?
It's almost the same thing.
Yeah, same thing.
Again, Pierre is everywhere and knows everything. Next time, Pierre, you'll do the triaging by yourself, and you'll explain us the result of your triage every week.
Okay, I will see. Probably it will be faster too.
I've never seen this.
I won't ask for a repro because it seems obvious as a repro, but that's weird. Well, when I develop, I'm usually in 32 bits, and IIS, I'm not sure. I've tried on 64 bits recently. I have worked on 64 bit on Azure, and it worked fine. Even with the media, I would check. I'm not sure. There should be a module migration remove as well as migration update. But yes, but the fact that you should know about the implication, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. Yes, there is an install method in the migrations, so there is no UI for that. What does this guy say? I don't close it. I just keep it in the history for charge future version, just because of the comments, because they're interesting. I haven't read them, but they must be interesting. URL encoding in slugs. I've tried writing a blog post about speaking learning and it shows up sometimes and this one. Okay. Closed, won't implement. And you can change the slug. Okay. Also provide your custom logic for slug generation. There is a service for that. So if you don't like how slugs are rendered, you can do that. What can we do? Future, because there is a workaround and I'm not sure what we can do for that. We could change the filter logic, the binary which has the logic. Both the can timeout change. No. Identifier generation exception when overflow starts with the content created event. It's an old one, should be fixed. Set the content created event as a starting point of the workflow and let the content type be comment. What is changed to the event is irrelevant. Okay, we'll check that. I don't trust you, but we can check.
It was really a long time ago, so
yeah, I'm sure it's fixed. So what you can do is try to repro and close it.
Okay.
Because we have lots of workflows with comments. Bertrand asked, for instance, I know I fixed some stuff for him because he asked kindly. Model doesn't exist in current context. I am using Orchard 1.6. So nope. Actually, the bug exists, but not in Orchard 1.6. So this is not an issue. Multi-tenancy and current culture. What is that? Okay, found the issue. Okay, found the issue. It was in the current selector, so no problem. Not an issue. Nick is right because so what do I do with that?
Scroll down.
Future version. To do.
I wrote a projection around this. I wrote a security filter projection for this, didn't I?
So
Fine.
Yeah, it works fine. Show it to me. I want to see it.
Okay.
Yeah, I know we talked about it, and I told you do it.
It's implemented on OPA. So
OPA.
OPA today. Remember that Katerina?
Oh, OPA is a website. Okay.
Yeah.
Conditional done never revealed I comments. What? No. It can't be wrong. Spend so many time understanding how this thing works and what options you can have. Crazy. Except I7 and below. Okay, you can do this. Okay, I'm not sure. Yes, use condition, not IE. Yeah, you can do that. I'm almost sure you can do that. I think that's done already.
Really?
No, maybe no. Maybe it's not. It's not by URL. It's by accept headers or something like that. I'm not kind of fond of patterns, but if it's just a star machine, that would be okay.
Yeah, that would be sufficient, of course.
By the way, Bertrand, there is an issue with the theme selector in your module. There are some exceptions with some browser names.
What module?
You have a theme selector module, don't you? If so some browsers send an empty string and it's null in the code, and then it throws some exceptions with the regular expression. Do you think I have the time to file bugs? I'm doing a triage. It's just happening. Stay. Raise. Ooh, mixed up either. Same thing, I changed some stuff. What a discussion. Normally core dependencies are registered first, then the ones in modules, if there's a module depending on workflows. Goes to this causes the okay. Fix it. Shh. Close. Because the command says it works like a charm now. So closed. Closed. I fixed it already. To check, but I think there was the same issue open and I fixed it. Okay. That's about time. People are leaving because the meeting is due to be ended. Any question, comments? We did a lot of triage today, so Benedek is happy.
I am.
We're now just waiting for Zoltán to fix them. Any questions? Everyone's happy? How's the weather in Austin?
It's actually beautiful.
Yeah.
It's the strangest thing. We went from like freezing weather for a week to 80 degrees today.
So your winter was short. Nice.
We don't even. That's not even normal. I don't know what you guys were blowing our way. And actually, we're getting another storm apparently that's blowing across the country. So it's
good.
But thanks for asking.
Any update
Brett,
on the harvest date?
I feel like I come to the meeting specifically to wait for Brett to ask the question. So both Sebastian and I have not gotten in contact with each other.
I would say my bad. I didn't even.
It's not just yours.
I didn't even think about it. So.
I think about it every day just for Brett.
Yeah. Brett just wants to drive his Tesla for free up to Vancouver and do it for once. So that's it.
But for me personally, there'll be an opportunity for me to be able to see Brett again.
Yeah. So let's set up something this week. Just talk about it. And,
okay. When a late evening would be good for me if that works for you after the kids are down.
Late evening. Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Early morning.
Your early morning is already I'm already in my day.
Yes, agree. True. Okay, let's try.
So my late night will be very late.
Maybe
Yours won't be so late.
Yeah, that should be good.
All right, cool.
Okay, good. See you next week, guys. Thank you.
Bye bye.
After Thanksgiving comes the harvest.
Sorry?
I said after Thanksgiving comes the harvest.
Yes. And Chris sent us this blog post. I want to see. I want to talk. Talk to you guys. Bye.
Bye.